Good day, class. Welcome to EE 525 Power Plant Engineering. So we're now going to study power plant. So this is the lesson 2, Introduction to Power Plant. So in this lesson, you will learn what is a power plant in general, what are the basic concept of a power plant, or how does a power plant, or what's the components within a power plant, the different types of prime mover use, and the power plant cycle review. And also we're going to review on the thermodynamics theories applied to a power plant. So now, what is a power plant? So you're going to search power plant, and according to Wikipedia, it is an industrial facility used to generate electric power with the help of one or more generator, which convert different energy sources into an electrical power. So a power plant may have one or more generators in order for it to supply power. So the addition of the generators in a power plant will give a boost to the power plant, which means it can be boost up the power plant into a higher, or it can produce a much more power than before. So a power plant or a power generating station is basically an industrial location that is utilized for the generation and distribution of electric power in a mass scale. Usually, the order of several thousands of watts or 1 kilowatts. There are generally located at the suburban regions or several kilometers away from the city or the load centers because of its requisites like huge load, land, and water demand, along with several operating constraints like the waste disposal and environmental issue. So, power plant, you cannot just easily see power plant at the center of the city. Yeah? I mean to say at the commercial complex on the city. It will be put away far in the urban areas so that the effect of the power plants such as noise, waste disposal, and its need a water demand will be given much attention. So the basic components on a power plant is that are the components that you might see in a power plant, or you will see in a power plant but on a different configurations. But the basic of it, I'll show you the basic of it, and to give you much more imagination, or to give you a view of what is in the power plant, what you can see inside a power plant. So first is the sources of energy. So it depends upon the sources of energy the power plant can produce electricity. So we all know that there are two types, the renewable and the non-renewable energy. So these sources of energy is being inserted into a prime mover, except for the solar. So solar power has no prime mover. But most of the sources of energy will be the one that will tend to move the so-called prime mover, or these are the motors or engines. So one of the sample of the prime mover is the diesel engine, which are being used on a diesel power plant, or a gas engine, which are used in a gas power plant or natural gas power plant. And other prime mover is the turbine, or used in a hydropower plant, also in a wind power plant for the wind turbine. So this is just an example of a prime mover. So as this prime mover being moved, this prime mover will move the generator, will rotate the generator. Now, of course, the prime mover needs some aspect or needs some other components in order for it to run smoothly. And that is what we call an auxiliary system or auxiliary machine or simply auxiliary. So these auxiliary, these are a system or a machines that will ensure that the prime mover will run smoothly. The requirements for this prime mover to run smoothly will be made at the auxiliary, or the auxiliary will be the one to ensure that all those what you call this, all those requirements for this prime mover will run smoothly will be met. So some of the auxiliary is this said boiler. So boiler is part of the auxiliary. So boiler can be used on a a diesel power plant. So I already seen a boiler system on a diesel power plant. On a thermal power plant, boiler are being used. Other auxiliary is the purifier, whether it's a fuel or oil purifier. So the one I showed you is a fuel and oil purifier. So this device used to purify or clean the fuel or the oil that are being used in an engine or in a turbine. So another auxiliary system is the air compressor, which is one of the requirements for the diesel engine, and for it to have a good burning in its fuel. Then a water softener to ensure the water that being fed to an engine is clean and less likely to cause a rush or corrode the pipes of or the engine itself. Though there are other auxiliary system that can be seen in the power plant. So the one that I'm giving you is just the sample of the auxiliary system. So after the prime mover, this prime mover is connected either directly or indirectly to a generator. So as you can see, the two is being coupled to each other's to in order for it to generate power. So as the prime mover rotates the generator, it will convert its mechanical into an electrical power. So the generator will be the one to convert it. And after the generator, the electricity will now be transferred to a transformer to either to step it up or to step it down. But mostly, the transformer after the generator is being stepped up so that it will reach the voltage requirements on the grid. So it depends on the voltage produced by a generator. Some generator produces 11 kV, and some a little bit lower and some a little bit higher. So a transformer is being used so that it will reach the requirements at the grid. Maybe at the grid needs a 13.8 kV or 138 kV, depends on where the power plant is being connected. So other components that can be found on the power plant, which is also a, shall we say, a supporting components and auxiliary components, is the motor control. In order for it to control the speed and the usage of the motors, which is generally being used on most of the power plants. The sensors and circuit protection in the substation or in the equipment that is being used in a power plant, substations, and waste disposal equipment such as scrubber, flue beds, and water purifiers. So there is a water purifier in the power plant. This is to ensure that the environmental requirements in a industry are being met. And there are others. It's depend upon the configuration or the designs of a power plant. So there are other power plant which has a specialty on its design, such as in a thermo power plant, in a coal power plant. Some coal power plant do have something that these can be only found under a, what you call this, under a industry. Just like in a diesel power plant, you may find a scrubber system on some of the diesel power plants such as Mapalad Energy, and the old diesel power plant don't have scrubber on it. So there are, of course, since this is a power plant and we still use thermodynamics theories that is related to the power plant. So thermodynamics is a science of many processes involved in one form of energy being changed into another form. So since power plant is changing one form of energy to electrical energy, so thermodynamics theories are being applied on these industries. So remember, there are about 4 laws of thermodynamics. So we have a zeroth law of thermodynamics. So it was being called zeroth law because it was formulated after the third law of thermodynamics. And since this zeroth law of thermodynamics is really the first thing to be applied, so that is why it's called the zeroth law of thermodynamics. So what does it state? It states that if two bodies are each in thermal equilibrium with a third, they must also be in thermal equilibrium with each other. So it just saying that if there's another body or another object that has a temperature on it, and another object, another temperature on it, if they are being fused to each other, they will going to reach a thermal equilibrium wherein their thermal or the heatness of each body are now equal, even with a third part or another body or object that was being fused to another bodies. So the first law of thermodynamics is the law of conservation of energy. So it states that the energy cannot be destroyed or created. So this first law of thermodynamics simply explains that if you had an energy and you want to convert it into another form of energy, you cannot destroy that said energy. It only convert it into a different type of energy. Shall we say, if we have the 100% form of energy and you want to put it, let's say, mechanical to electrical energy, those energy that was the source of energy can still be can be converted on that on other form of energy, but as the actual shows that you cannot just, it's not simply going to a one form of energy, it will create for another form. But if you're going to add all that energy, it is equivalent to the original energy. Such as we say that if we have a, let's say, a speed of 100 rpm and we're expecting it to generate around 1 kilowatt, but as on the actual it did not reach a 1 kilowatt. But because there is another form of energy also being being was created because of that. No, I didn't mean was converted, the thermal energy of it, the electrical energy, and other form of energy. But you simply cannot create nor destroy that form of energy. It will be converted to another form of energy. The second law of thermodynamics is the law of entropy law. It all physical process proceed in such a way that the availability of the energy involved decreases. So if you're going to use that energy, it will decrease and it will, you cannot convert it back, or you cannot convert it back 100%. For example, if you only use 100% of this energy and you convert it to another form of energy and you want it to put it back to its original form of energy, but the energy at the time you convert it back to its original form, it is not the energy that was used, or that is the original quantity, because some other forms of energy was created because of that energy. The third law of thermodynamics is the law of attainability of absolute zero temperature. So it's an entropy of an ideal crystal at 0 degrees Kelvin is 0. So we cannot attain that 0 degrees or an absolute 0 degree Kelvin. We can only reach or almost reach the 0, but not actually an absolute 0. So that is the third law of thermodynamics. So because of these laws of thermodynamics, a power plant cycle has been created that used in a power plant. So we have a vapor power cycle. So this is being used on mostly on a thermal power plant, wherein the cycle involves the Carnot cycle, Rankine cycle, regenerative cycle, Reed cycle, binary vapor cycle, while the other is the gas power plants, wherein the cycles that can be related to a gas power cycle is the Otto cycle, diesel cycle, dual combustion cycle, and gas turbine cycle. So let's have a brief understanding on this different type of cycle. So a Carnot cycle, this is an ideal cycle of great value to heat power theory, although it has not been possible to construct a practical plan on this type of cycle. It does this type of cycle, it has a high thermodynamic efficiency, wherein the efficiency is equal to T1 minus T2 over T1, where T1 is the heat source and T2 is the receiver, or the temperature of the receiver. The next power cycle is the Rankine cycle, which is or which are being used on a steam engine and a steam turbine in which steam is used as working medium follow Rankine cycle. So this cycle can be carried out in 4 pieces of equipment joined by pipes for conveying working medium. So this is the theory behind the Rankine cycle and the PV diagram of the Rankine cycle. So a portion of it will be evaporated. Then after the evaporation, it goes to adiabatic expansion and goes back to a constant pressure. So a reheat cycle, in this cycle, steam is extracted from a suitable point in the turbine and reheated generally to the original temperature by flue gases. Reheating is generally used when the pressure is high. So on this reheating cycle, there are 2 types of turbine that are being used, a high pressure turbine and a normal turbine, wherein the water that was fed on this turbine or in a steam generator was reheated. So as it was reheated, it will produce a high pressure steam. So a regenerative cycle or feed water heating in this process of extracting steam from the turbine at certain points during its expansion and using this steam for heating for feed water is known as regenerative or bleeding of steam. So on this regenerative system or regenerative cycle, the steam are being heated at the point of the turbine. There is a bleeding wherein some of the steam are being, some of the water or the low or something, the water that was produced in the steam while they are in the turbine are being collected and feed back to the source water. And some of the high steam which were be put into the condenser 2 goes back as a cooled water. So in this way, the water that was being heated will goes back to its original state. So the binary vapor cycling, in this cycle, 2 working fluids are being used. Either a steam or a water or a mercury. So with this type of cycle, you will going to have 2 turbines. The first one is the steam turbine and the mercury. The second one is the mercury turbine. And I still don't know which power plant are being used on these 2 type of cycle. Reheating, regenerative cycle. So this is a combination of the 2 cycle, the reheating and regenerative use. So the thermal efficiency of this cycle is higher than only reheating or the regenerative cycle. So it combines the 2 type of cycle, the reheating and regenerative one. So as a summary, the thermal efficiency of the Rankine is equal to H1 minus H2 over H1 minus the heat of the water at the second portion. So efficiency ratio of relative efficiency indicates or break thermal efficiency or divided by the Rankine efficiency. So do you have any question? So if you do have any question, you may pause it on the comments below or simply contact me And don't forget to like and subscribe for this video, and see you next video.